Hey everyone, we got the weather gang here. Peyton, as well as Wyatt and Zach. Zach is working today after having off the last couple of days. Did you enjoy your time off?
Yeah, a little bit busy, but
All
yeah,
right.
I enjoyed it. Nice weather, but that's going to be changing. We got some active weather coming up.
Got a severe weather risk that we'll definitely need to watch very, very closely. So let's get to it. Show you the severe weather risk. There it is, an enhanced risk. This was updated this morning at about 3 a.m. I did not see the risk. I woke up and looked at it and saw, wow, they went enhanced. So then they upgraded it. Well, they didn't upgrade it, but they expanded it to include north central Arkansas, southwestern Missouri. And the timing of this is a little tricky. So we're going to kind of dive into that. But we want to show you why the potential for very large hail is a very serious threat tomorrow. The ingredients are there for some real significant hail.
Yep.
And we'll show you too some of the sounding analogs. I mean, it's a pretty good match in terms of large hail on past significant weather events. Now, the only thing that's a little bit tricky is a dry line is retreating. I'll show you that. We'll talk about that. We'll take a look at some severe weather parameters. So why don't you say we get to it, guys? What should we show first, Zach?
I should probably show this hail risk map.
Let's do it.
That's probably the biggest threat for us here.
Yeah. Now, we also have tornado potential as well, but we're going to be watching. And I know you can watch the Arkansas game.
I'd rather watch this than the Arkansas game.
Oh, I'd rather watch this than the Arkansas game. I got you, Matthew. Thank you. Well, you can keep one eye on the Arkansas game, too. We need a win. We need to beat Vanderbilt if we have any hope.
If we lose to Vanderbilt, then
that's it. That's the end. Not even the NIT. So this is a look at the large hail risk, day 2 convective outlook. And I'm telling you what, that is a very large hail for a hatched area. A very large area. Typically, that hatched area is smaller. It's only a few counties.
It's going from Dallas to St. Louis.
This is our entire weather coverage area. And look at the size of this, all the way from Dallas, like you said, northeast to St. Louis. I just want to kind of show you the full extent of this. And we're kind of right in the heart of it, Zach. I mean, we don't miss it this time, according to the risk.
That's quite the large area.
Yeah.
Then do you think the placement is kind of uncertain here with this? Is that why they're making the area so large?
The reason the area is so large is because there's going to be storm potential with a very large, what we call homogeneous and unstable environment, meaning it's a very large warm sector. So storms could develop at any time. Jacob, I knew you were going to ask this because I know you always ask about the upgrade for the risk. What do you think? You let us know. I don't think they go moderate risk tomorrow. And there's a couple reasons. The dry line's retreating. The energy is very subtle. If there was more upper level energy, and let's say this trough was going positive to negative tilt right over us, no, not so much. So we don't have that. We have subtle energy, as the Storm Prediction Center said, nebulous energy. Will it be a squall line or a supercell? Kind of a little bit of both. Supercells early on, and then the squall line as the cold front moves through. At least that's what I think. But here's a look at so that's the large hail risk. We're going to go back to the wind risk and show you that also has the potential to be high. And you can see that the damaging winds potentially farther east. This makes sense because as the storms initially develop, that's when they have the greatest potential for large hail. And then as we go into the evening hours, it's going to congeal more into a line, and then there's your damaging wind potential. Next risk is the tornado threat. What about the tornado? You can see low-end tornado threat, 1 or 2 possible, kind of questionable. The shear is there in the river valley. It's not quite there in northwest Arkansas, but I will say this. I did think that the latest models are starting to show a little more shear. And I want to see what you guys think of that. I've been noticing the critical angles look a little bit better.
Let's see. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Josh is saying right here, the SPC did mention there was room for an upgrade in the morning outlook, but in later outlooks, they expanded and upgraded some areas in the enhanced risk. I don't think they're going to go moderate for a day 2. That's extremely rare. But now, what does this look like on computer models? Well, it depends what model you look at. But here's a look at the high resolution rapid refresh. And then we're going to look at some of the parameters. And we can only got a limited time because we have the 7 o'clock newscast that's coming up. But we're definitely going to show you as much as we can. So there's the storm development Thursday afternoon. Now, I will say this. The HRRR is one of the earlier models for thunderstorm development. It's one of the earlier
Relative to all
initiations.
the others.
Yeah. And when we say early, we're talking early afternoon. Now, a lot of other models show 7, 8 o'clock. Some of them show 5, 6 o'clock. Either way, storms are looking very likely. So here's a look at the future track model showing that thunderstorm development super widespread. Now, notice this is like supercells right here. This is what the environment could look like. So you see those isolated cells. They're not the super large ones. What does that mean? That means your thunderstorms could actually look kind of a little bit like this. Those are supercells with rotating updrafts and basically all the ingredients. And that's more of a LP supercell, kind of a little bit of a hybrid. Well, you can see the vault, though. Typically, you can't see that vault area see, this is called the vault right here to the east of the updraft. But then again, there's precipitation that's underneath the precipitation freebase. So it's kind of a hybrid. But either way, that's a very impressive supercell. So enhanced risk, what that means is many storms are going to be potentially severe. The ingredients are there. The timing window is 2 o'clock at the earliest, maybe an isolated storm in the late morning into the very early afternoon. However, we have very favorable large hail ingredients. So in order to show this, we're going to go back to that future track and then show you the rest of it, because the storm activity does initially develop as supercells. And Zach, what's the reason that supercells have so much hail potential is why?
Well, we got high equitops. We got a lot of factors. We've got a lot of instability, and we have a lot of wind shear in the high equitops. So a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, there's a lot of room to grow.
Yeah.
So definitely could see some very large hail. We saw that hatched risk. That means that over 2 inches possible. Maybe even we're looking at some of those analogs. Baseball size, definitely not going to be out of the question.
Yeah, maybe even larger than baseballs.
And
it's
that damage to cars. Make sure you get those in the garage.
Yeah.
That's even life threatening. If you get caught in hail that size, if that pounds,
it is. It's extremely dangerous and very dangerous to crops. But the thing is that even though that area, I got to stress this, we got to definitely stress this, even though that area showed everywhere was the hatched area, that does not mean that everyone is going to see large hail.
Nope. It's only a 10%.
That is the probability of seeing large hail in that area, and you don't know where the storms are going to initially develop.
And the timing of these storms is definitely worth noting, because they're going to be happening. Probably the best chance for hail is during that commute home.
Yeah,
a lot of people outside
early afternoon.
Early afternoon. So
picking up kids from school potentially. It's just it's definitely there. So there's a look at. Notice how the storm activity is pretty quiet in the river valley. Now, even though it's not storming in the river valley right at this point, it could, and maybe this model is wrong, but either way, it shows more storms coming in the evening, and this is when the wind shear starts to increase as the energy swings eastward. But see how this is more in a linear fashion now as we go into the early evening and late evening. That's the front that moves through, and then the storm risk will come to an end by about midnight. I honestly think it'll probably be around 10 o'clock. Maybe we need to extend the window a little bit longer, maybe 2 p.m. to midnight.
Yeah,
I think.
What I was looking at with HRRR.
Yeah.
Should it sticking around a bit longer compared to the others?
So this is a good question. Paige asked, what model are you thinking is the most accurate? Well, judging on the energy, I do believe that the HRRR is onto something. And then we'll look at, and not on like crack, but actually, it has a good idea on what could happen. Sometimes these models are out to lunch. This is a look at a different model. So thunderstorms, this is called the graph model. And see, this has thunderstorm development. Let me zoom in on that a little bit more so you can see. And then we want to get into the parameters. But here's a look at the future track model that will show the storm developments. Everything's quiet tonight. No storms at all. Tomorrow morning should be pretty quiet because we're capped. But this shows thunderstorms developing by about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And if that happens, then maybe we don't, overturn the atmosphere and then more storms develop. This seems to show one and done. I have my doubts about that, especially with the frontal boundary coming through. And then this shows more storms in the river valley by 4 o'clock. Remember, the other one had 0 storms until about 7, 8 o'clock. That seems a little bit too late, in my opinion. What do you guys think, Peyton?
Sorry, I zoned out for a second.
You're good. You're good. No worries. I'm just
Ye-
talking about
yeah.
the energy that's coming in. I think the models, it's subtle energy, but if we want to look at the timing, this is the most likely area for timing that's going to be in the evening hours. You can see that afternoon, evening. Not as much in the morning, but you can't discount an isolated storm. And if that does happen, those storms will be severe. So this is kind of not everyone will see kind of rain. In fact, not everyone will see heavy rain. But I do think the area does experience at least rainfall of some sort. Maybe not the real heavy stuff, but look at the flash flooding potential. That's a level 2 out of 4, and that covers our entire weather coverage area. Initially, that level 2 only made it into the river valley, and then the level 1 was in northwest Arkansas. But they realized that the frontal boundary might be moving a little slower. This is a great way to show you, and then we're going to take a look at the parameters. I made this graphic because I wanted to show you how the front is going to evolve over time. So there's a look, first of all, at the severe weather risk that's currently ongoing to our north. In fact, there's a tornado watch, no tornado warnings yet, but right along the warm front and stationary front is where you have that tornado potential. Then you got the dry line that's starting to mix eastward, a little bit of a dry line bulge, and probably need to adjust that dry line. It's a little bit east now of where it was initially. So there's that dry line bulge wrapping around the triple point right here and then extending down to the south. So you can see those dew points are a lot deeper, basically higher, lower 60s in Shreveport, and that southerly wind is going to transport the moisture. Now, this is what I wanted to show you. This is how the surface map is going to look over time, potentially. So as the front makes its way east, it starts knocking on our doorstep, but we don't have any upper level support at this time to form thunderstorms. Now, see how that dry line made a little sneak westward back to the west? It kind of moved to the west instead of the east. I'm going to show you that again. Watch the dry line as it backs up just a little bit. That backing up of the dry line is known as a retreating dry line. Retreating dry lines sometimes provide surprises, whereas no storms develop. It's a possibility. And you can see how the models don't show that. But then maybe some upper level support comes in and we start to see those storms initiate. And then the front comes through. And when the front rolls through, that's when that storm threat will come to an end. All right, let's check out some parameters here. So, Peyton, you're going to walk us through some soundings. And we're going to do this on our Weather 3 computer. Or is that Weather 2? That's Weather 2.
Mm-hmm.
So stand by, bringing up Weather 2. All right. So this is known as basically weather. This is a buff kit showing model soundings. And it's kind of a little bit small, but yeah, you can kind of point out with the cursor what we're looking at here.
Yeah, so it's an environmental profile basically where, I don't know, the temperatures are skewed. It's called skew T log P, but basically it shows the red line is your temperature, green is dew point, and then this yellow line is the partial process curve. And the area in between the yellow and the red is fuel for thunderstorms, and then the area between the blue and the red is negative fuel for thunderstorms. And so if we go throughout the
known as sin. So if you've heard of CAPE before, that's the positive energy, and negative is sin H. So
convective inhibition.
Yes.
So it's the inhibiting factor for convection. So if we go throughout the morning, you get more daytime heating, you heat the surface more. So you get a lot more convective available potential energy.
And what time are we looking at
This
there?
is 10 a.m. right now.
10 a.m. on Thursday.
Yep. And there's
a little bit of a cap.
So that cap can prevent a lot from happening.
And that's located right in here. So this is that cap.
Oh, Lord, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, right down here.
So there's that little bit of a cap, meaning warm air above our heads that's warmer than the environment, which will prevent the thunderstorms from rising. However, What you really got to see when Zach was talking about how tall these updrafts are going to be, you bring it all the way up to what's known as the equilibrium level, and you can see the feet on the left-hand side.
37,000.
So 37,000 feet tall. These are going to be some massive thunderstorms with the potential for backsheared ambles and overshooting tops. So supercells, what you would call classic supercells. So if you go forward in time a little bit.
It's 11. That is noon. So
still capped.
Yeah, even more of a cap now. Because if we do get a little bit of shower activity, that's going to cool it a little bit. And then we're capped.
Laura says headache is unbearable. I've got a headache as well. Knee pain too. You know exactly what we're talking about. This is the potential for definitely some stuff rolling in. You can tell my sinuses. I've been having a cold anyways, but
one thing you'll notice consistent as we go throughout the afternoon is it's capped, which is not good for thunderstorm growth.
But keep going.
Still capped. It's capped. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. Capped. It's all capped.
Okay.
So
well,
we could get nothing.
Well, that's just one model for one.
Yeah.
One location.
mile run,
So
and the temperatures
take it with a grain of salt.
aren't all that.
Yeah, exactly. Take that with a grain, because that is one model, and let's face it, HRRR is pretty terrible in predicting storms,
And
and it's been terrible.
And that was a Fayetteville sounding, right?
Yep.
Yes.
So
If you bring up the river valley, but first of all, we got to show you the energy that's coming in. And remember how we always talk about how Baja Blast energy is really a struggle bus with the models. So here's the energy that's swinging in. You can see the upper level energy. That's what's forming the thunderstorms tonight. That makes sense because you can see that energy. One thing I am cautious about, as Peyton mentioned, capped, is this is a positively tilted system. Positively tilted systems are slower. They're not as strong. The energy isn't as great. So there's a chance that maybe not a lot of storms develop. That's a possibility. I do think when the front comes through, that's when we'll see the potential for greater thunderstorms. But it's obviously a question as to where those storms will develop. If we look at the vorticity, this will give you an idea. See that massive system? But then we look eastward and you can see these little subtle waves that come through. They don't look like much. However, they're enough where they could fire off thunderstorms. But that is why I don't believe that they go with a moderate risk tomorrow, because the forcing is questionable. Yes, models break out storms, but the forcing is questionable. It just is. However, the parameters are through the roof. When we look at if we look at a sounding here from that HRRR model, and BuffKit is good to show that. At the same time, we look at some of the parameters here. We're going to step forward in time a little bit. There definitely is a little bit of a cap. It's not much. And if the forcing is stronger, that could lead to a little bit more, but a little bit more thunderstorm development. So last, I want to show you this. This is going to be, all right, so this is the computer model sounding. Let me bring this up full real quick so you guys can see. But this is a look at the computer model sounding, and I want you to look at the analogs right here, what it says. So if we go to this, right here is the potential for significant hail. I'm going to zoom in on this, and hopefully it's going to work. It looks like it is. So right here, you can see this significant hail potential, 3.75 from March 4th of 2004. So really March 3rd of 2004, because it's 0Z. And look at this, 3.65. So what it's saying is that in past environments, with exactly like this profile, what it shows, along with the wind shear that's in place, the storm slinky and all that stuff, it shows that this is what is most represented by this environmental sounding. And there you see some of the hail sizes. The smallest one that it shows on here is 2.5 inches, which is a tennis ball. Then you got baseball. There's one LZK. So that would be on March 4th of, let me see here, 0Z.
April
1925 is
April
what.
5th, 2003. April
Yeah,
25th.
yeah, April 25th, 2003, 0Z. So it'd be April 24th, 2003.
Yeah.
Then you got 2003 here, 97. So it shows 226 loose matches, which is a lot, and the 79% significant. So 80% match of large hail. So these are all the ingredients that we look at. We can look at a different computer model for nearly the same time. We'll go into the 24th. I know we got to get going here pretty soon. The show is starting up here. But once again, significant hail, 4.5 inches in 93. And that was in the Dodge City sounding. These are actual soundings that are represented. You have OAX, which is Omaha, 2.75. OUN on April, let's see, it would be 0328, March 27th of 2004. So see how these analogs represent what happened? That's the ingredients that are there for hail. Now, the tornado potential is a little bit less, and you can see that with the supercell 50% match on the tour. So to just break it all down for you and to sum it up in layman's terms, if we look at previous environments that look like this setup tomorrow with the instability, this is for Thursday, by the way, Michael. That's not for tomorrow. I mean, it's not for today. It's for tomorrow. Every model is showing the potential for large hail. So it is something that we definitely have to watch, no doubt. One thing is later on tonight, we're going to get new model runs that will have the energy out west, maybe a little bit better sampled, and we'll see if thunderstorms are still in the offing.
Yeah, we'll see.
And we'll do another update. So driving the bus should be fun. But here's the deal. It's that high impact, low coverage initially with isolated supercells. Even though they're really, really strong, they're small in aerial coverage. So they don't hit everywhere. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. All right. Anything else as I load up Peyton's show here on Weather One?
Mike and I agree.
Yes, you need that. Nope, no, I'm doing a Facebook Live right now. Yeah. Nope. Here you go. He's getting mic'd up right now. Yes, Robert, we're answering that. We're going to do another live at the 10 o'clock just to show you what the new data shows. But Bella Vista is in the threat for large hail again. Again, if you look at the threat for severe weather, it's everywhere. The threat for severe weather is everywhere. Whether it actually comes to fruition or not remains to be seen. But here's a look at that latest risk. Again, enhanced risk of 3 out of 5. So we'll continue to watch it. We'll keep you updated. Definitely make sure you remain weather aware. If you want to learn more, you can visit our weather blog. Go to knwa.com, click on the weather tab, weather blog, and all that stuff. We'll see where the storms develop, but we'll have hopefully a better idea tonight along with the timing. All right. See you guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. God bless. We'll see you later. We'll see you after the 10.